everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rabya and welcome to video number 13 for me. Oh, so cool. So we are doing a review of the Huda Beauty new Nude palette. It is a gorgeous palette to look at. I remember the first time I walked into Sephora inside, I was just like, oh my god, I need this. When I saw pictures, I wasn't really like as intrigued by it, but in person, this is just, it's so gorgeous. Like these all the shimmer shades like have this reflective quality. So as soon as I saw it in store, I knew I had to pick it up. This does retail for about $64 on Sephora, and it is available also on Huda Beauty's website. So if you do like the video, consider liking, consider subscribing, and yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, you guys, so we are starting off today's video just with the foundation and eyebrows done. I didn't work on any other part of my base besides my foundation, just because I don't know if the glitters and the shimmers and the mattes in this palette are gonna have fallout, which is just the falling of the pigment from the brush or your finger onto your cheeks instead of staying on your eyes. Before we start working with the palette, I'm going to conceal my eyes and also prep it for the shadow. And for that, I'm using the Huda Beauty Overachiever Concealer, and this is in the shade Graham Cracker. This is such a complimentary shade. I use this in my Priyanka Chopra Get the Look or Inspired Makeup tutorial that I posted just before this, so if you haven't already, make sure to check it out afterwards. And I'm just going to tap a little bit onto the tops of my eyelid, and then I'm going to go in with my beauty blender and just blend that out, and I'm going to set it with powder, and as soon as we're done with that, we can get into the eyeshadow palette. Okay, so first I'm going to be dipping into the shade Teddy right here with a big fluffy brush. This is from Moda Pro's, it's their crease brush. I already dipped the brush in there, and there is a little bit of kick up, which is just when the pigment breaks off from that pressed form. I usually don't mind it. It usually says that it is more pigmented in my experience, but if that matters to you. And so I'm just going to pick it up on that fluffy brush and work it in my crease. And so it's a little bit above my crease. So I do rock it in that socket. Not right. So I want this shade to lay more on like the top of my crease. Okay, that builds up really nicely. Okay, so right under that shade, I'm going to go in with this shade called Raw, and I'm going in with a Morphe M518, picking up that brush, tapping off that extra pigment, and I'm going to work this right underneath that first Teddy shade. And this one is just to create that deeper gradient. And again, when working with eyeshadows, you always want to just work in windshield wiper motions in your crease. The reason you do that is just so that you get an even distribution of that pigment in your crease and you don't have like patchy spots. These mattes blended into one another really pretty. I like the color that gives and the effect, that gradient. Honestly, that shade Teddy was a lot deeper than I thought it was going to be. Next, I really want to use this concealer she included in the palette, I guess, to create more cut crease looks. And I'm just going to go in with a flat brush. This is a MAC 104. I don't know, it rubbed off. But I'm just going to take that on to the concealer. This is a lot lighter than I usually go for, but so let's see how this goes. I'm picking up a lot onto the brush, and then I'm just going to cut my crease. This concealer is pretty thick and tacky. It feels like a mix between like if you took a glitter glue and you got it on to your concealer, that tacky mix. And it's not applying super smooth. It's not giving me like a super even base. But let's see how eyeshadow sticks on top of it. Okay, so just between this eye and this eye, I noticed a difference, and I think you want to work with a thin layer with this. It gives you a real better application and you have a little bit more control with it. I just assumed to go in with a thicker layer just because concealer is a little thicker, but this side is, I'm having a hard time like creating that perfect catty shape. But so anyways, going over top of that, I really want to use this color, Daydream. So it's this beautiful like lilac-y shade, and I'm just gonna press that where I put that glitter. It's like a super metallic foiled shadow. It's a lot different than I was expecting, but it's still pretty. It's more on the foiled side. Okay, and then I'm going to just go in with a little bit more of a detailed brush. So this Morphe M5, no, sorry, this Morphe M205, and just go back into that same Daydream shade. And I'm just going to work that around the crease. I'm leaving a little bit of this inner third open just so I can play with one of the more glittery shades. I feel like that concealer that we put down is causing a little bit of patchiness in this eyeshadow, because I would assume that it goes on super smooth, but maybe I wasn't supposed to use concealer with these foiled shades. But it's just this eye is like really patchy. This is pretty smooth. Let's go in with a glitter now. And I'm going to go in with this shade, this super beautiful shade right here, Infatuated. And I'm just going to take this shade on my finger again. So this is where that concealer, I put down that concealer. So I don't think that concealer is holding. I assume because it was so tacky it would hold the glitter. But let's see. It's pretty much like the mix of this color and this color, but let's see what we do. Okay, so I'm gonna deepen up this lilac shade a little bit. So I'm going to go into this shade right here, Fantasy. Oops, this shade right here, Fantasy. And I'm just going to press that on top. This eye, it looks really nice. I think it's just that concealer. If you apply a thin layer, all the eyeshadows are probably gonna work really well for you. It's if you get it too thick, I think it's so tacky that it's clinging onto the pigments in a pretty unflattering way. Love Bite right here. That's the deepest shade in the palette, and I'm going to go in with the Morphe M507. Again, you do want to dust the shadows off. There is a lot of kick up that's happening, so there's going to be a lot of extra pigment. And I'm just going to work this in a V shape on this outer corner, and I'm just going to frame the outer corner of my eye, meaning like just giving it a little bit more shape out here. So I'm not going to drag this color all the way in, I'm just going to work it just out here. So now I'm just going to really quickly line my eyes with the Makeup Forever ink liner. I'm just going to fast forward through this part so that this video isn't a gajillion years long. I have my eyeliner on, and while that's drying up, I am just going to really quickly work on a little bit on my lower lash line. So I'm going in with a pretty straight edge thin brush, and I'm going to go back into this shade right here, Love Bite, and I'm just going to smudge this onto my lower lash line really close. And I do like to have my lower lash line's eyeshadow meet with my upper lash line a little bit, and then I'm gonna work this inwards. So I always, when I take the product fresh out of the pan, I always place it on this outer corner because that's where I want the most pigment, and then I drag it inward so that it gets more and more diffused on this inner corner. Okay, and then now I'm going to go back into this shade Raw on that same Morphe M518, and I'm just going to blend out this lower lash line. And so I'm gonna do the rest of my face. I'm gonna show you the products, but I'm gonna speed through it again just to save time on this video, and so you're not here forever, because I know it's a lot. I'm working on it, I promise. So we're gonna speed up right now. And then finally, going back in with that Moda Pro crease brush, I'm going to go into the shade Teddy right here. And I'm just going to work this completely underneath all of those shades. And this is just, and then once I have this blended down here to my liking, I'm also going to just take this shade all the way around. I do like connecting my upper and lower lashes with that one color that I started off with. I just feel like it just brings a cohesive look to your upper and lower look. So on a smaller brush, I'm going to go in with this shade right here, which is called Crave. And I'm just going to pop this onto the inner corner of my eye. Okay, I'm just going to pop on some mascara. This is a NARS Climax. And I'm going to pop on these velour lashes. They are used, so they're a little funky looking. But these are in style Wispy Sweet Nothing. So I'm just gonna do that real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I have my lashes all done, I am done with this look. I really think that this turned out really nice. I'm not used to pink eyeshadows. I don't really go into that romantic hue, but I do think that this is a really fun look and a really good way for you to introduce pink neutrals into your makeup. The palette, again, I think is a beautiful palette. I think it's set up nicely. I do wish there was a deeper shade in here for deepening, because I did deepen my outer corners with the deepest shade, which is Love Bite, but I just wish there was something a little bit more deeper, like a really rich grape or like plum. But besides that, I don't have any other problems with the colors. I think that they're all really different. Like, I don't own a lot of these kind of colors in my collection, and I genuinely appreciate her putting, like, even though the concealer, I do need to play with it a little bit more to like figure out how to work with that consistency if I decide to work with that consistency, because obviously you can just use your own concealer to cut the crease or, you know, make shadows pop. But I do want, like, I feel like there's a way for me to use this and I haven't really figured it out. But again, on this eye, I used a thinner layer and it worked so much better for me than on this eye. And then another thing I appreciate with all of her palettes that I've seen, not the little mini ones, but these larger ones, she does give you a new texture to play with. Again, just the hues in this are beautiful. I do think she did a great job with this idea of a new nude palette. So there's like no browns in here. Like, again, I feel like when I think nude, I think brown. And even though like this is like a hushed palette and it is pretty nude, it's not something I would have thought of. And so I really appreciate that. I do think it is worth the $64 price tag. It is expensive, but I do think her shadows are worth it. The mattes are beautiful, like all of her mattes. Like, even if you don't go for this palette, even if you go for the small $27 like 9 shadow palette, her mattes are beautiful to blend. Her mattes are beautiful to apply. Like, what you're looking at in the pan is what you're getting on your eyes. And so I do think just for the mattes alone that this palette is worth it, and then all of the extra kicks you get with it are also great. And so I really hope you enjoyed this video. And so with that, I am going to end this video. Again, if you did like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. And I think that you have to hit the bell to be notified when I upload. And then also like the video so I know that you guys do want to see reviews or maybe more content like this. And finally, if you want to see a few more looks with this Huda Beauty palette, I will be uploading them to my Instagram. It is the same name. It is just at Rab's Beauty. And yeah, without further ado, I'm just gonna cut right now.